1 2 1 2 1 2. All right, people. I think we're live and direct on YouTube. So, um, what is happening, people? So today I thought that I would do a little tutorial on how to beat match. So sort of like the basics on how to DJ, and I thought I'd give a little bit of a tutorial. The reason for this is not many people make videos showing you like how to beat match and really go too much in depth. There's a couple of people that do, and also I come live and stuff on my YouTube channel. And I am doing live streams, I am mixing, and I am doing sets. And you're probably thinking, like, what am I doing with all these buttons? And why am I twisting all these little faders and things? And what am I essentially doing? So I thought I'd give a little bit of a demonstration, sort of on how to mix, sort of the basics. So we're not going to worry about different effects and like quick mixing, and we're not going to worry about any of that. We're just going to sort of more or less focus on the basics of getting one track in time and in beat with the other track, and that is the aim of the stream, really. So what we're going to do for this is we're going to use some hardcore tracks. So we're going to use some hardcore UK hardcore, which is usually round about 170. They can go up to 175, and a lot of DJs like to actually play them at 180, which is all good and cool. But for this, we're just going to play it at 170, as it is actually, set at what the original BPM is, if that makes sense. So, how do we basically beat match? Like, how do we get two tracks to go in time? So, basically, just forget about the CDJs for a second and think that they're actually race cars. Now, I give this terminology because I watched a video years ago of somebody who was talking about beat matching on vinyl, and he used this. He used this sort of like example that the turntables are two race cars, right? So you imagine you've got two race cars. So you've got this race car here. So this right here, we'll call this one the I don't know, the Ferrari, right? And then we'll call this one over here the Lamborghini. So you've got the Ferrari, and this Ferrari here, he's going quite fast. He's doing 170, and he's absolutely speeding down the highway. And then you've got Mr. Lamborghini here, and he's actually doing 165. So he's going 5 miles per hour slower. So the track is essentially going 5 beats per minute slower. So what you want to do is you want to make it so this Lamborghini speeds up to 170 and goes in time and goes right next to the Ferrari. So essentially, they're both racing and they're both speeding at the same time, and they're going at the same pace. If the Ferrari is going a little bit in front, it means that you've got to speed up the Lamborghini a little bit. If the Lamborghini is going a little bit in front, that means you've made the Lamborghini go too fast, and you've got to ease on the brakes a bit. Essentially, you've got to slow him down a little bit, right? And then the jog wheel is just basically where you've got to steer the track, so it is actually going in. So it is actually going next to the other track, so it's not sounding off beat. But if you've got the right tempo there, so if you've got the right speed, the tracks are going to sit at the same pace, and one isn't going to go off faster than the other. So, how do we actually do this? Like, what is the key to doing this? So, what you need, obviously, vital, is a pair of headphones. Although we're not actually going to use this for the tutorial, because I want you to hear everything out loud, as it is a demonstration. But normally, in a nightclub or doing a normal live stream set, the DJ would have a pair of headphones plugged in. And basically what that is for, so let's say Mr. Lamborghini is playing out loud and you've got the crowd or the listeners, you know, they're dancing away and they're listening to the music, and basically you've got to work with the other track to get it in time, get it in beat, ready, so when this track's ready to finish, or when you're ready to call it a day with this track and you want to start bringing the next one in, basically you've got to work within your headphones to get that track in time, so the people that are having a boogie and listening to you don't hear you getting that track in beat, because they'd hear all the awful double beating and all the songs clashing like they're just not going together. So you've got to really do that in your headphones, and that's kind of like your behind the scenes, if you like. So your ears are kind of like the behind the scenes. So essentially you're hearing the next track before the people that are actually boogieing and dancing to you are actually hearing the track as well. So on this side, we've got a track entitled Anybody Else But You. It's by Dougal and Gamma. It's on Essential Platinum Records. It is an absolute banger of a track. I would definitely recommend checking it out. If you've not heard it before, I'm sure like you should have heard it all by now. It is a banger of a track. And then on this side, we've got a track entitled Mix Factory, Take Me Away. I believe this is the Recon remix, and it is on Twister Records. And it's an absolute banger of a track. So, essentially, what we're going to do is we're going to set Mr. Lamborghini here playing. So, he's going to be playing. So, I've got my pitch set into the neutral position, so the middle, the white line, the middle, so that means that the track is going to play at 170 beats per minute. Now, the Mix Factory track, the Take Me Away, the pitch is actually all the way down here at the bottom. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to think, right, this track is going too fast, so we're going to have to slow it down to get it in beat. So this is exactly how we're going to do it. So listen to the demonstration, and then I'll come back and explain exactly what I did. So that's what I did. So what did I actually do? So we had Mr. Lamborghini here, who was playing at this side, and he was going at 170, right? And then we had the Ferrari over at this side that was actually doing 176. So he actually wanted to slow down. So basically Mr. Lamborghini could catch up to him. Now, so what I did is I had this track playing, and then I set this track off playing, and it was at 176, so it was going out a beat. There was no way in hell it was going to stay in beat. So what I was doing is I was moving the jog wheel backwards like this. So I was moving it anti-clockwise, which essentially is another way of slowing your track down, right? But it won't keep it slow, because it's actually the pitch fader that keeps it slow. So you could spin this jog wheel pretty fast and you could get it in beat for maybe a split second, but because the actual pitch is still going at 176, as soon as you stop spinning that jog wheel, it's just going to go back up to 176 again. So essentially, you've got to sort of keep spinning it and then you've got to slow the pitch fader down until it says 170. Now, if you were an old school DJ, you won't be looking to see what this says because you'll have it in your headphones and you'll listen with your ear. You'll listen exactly with your ear, right? And you will know exactly what goes down, and you'll know exactly that you can do this without actually listening, without actually looking at any form of screen. If you use your ear, you can actually do this, and you can actually make it work. So essentially, what you've got to do is you've got to just keep listening. If you want to do it the proper way, you've got to keep listening in your ear, see if it's sounding in beat, and if it's still going slightly off beat, it means that you're just not quite there, and you might have to move your pitch fader maybe just the tiniest little bit. So what I'm actually going to do, just to show you guys that I don't need to look at what the pitch is saying, I'm going to select 2 other tracks. So I'm going to select this one, which is a remix of Coming On Strong. And what I'm going to do is select another track here, which is actually a remix of System F Cry. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just make this track go incredibly slow. So I've got to speed it up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get these 2 USBs here, these plastic USB cards. And I'm just going to cover that there over the sort of dial or the screen that's telling me the pitch, right? So we got this one here, like that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same as what I did before, but I can't see what the pitch is saying. Now obviously I know that this track's at the 170, we're keeping this one at the neutral position. So I've got to work with this one without actually physically knowing what the BPM is. So this could be something like 165, 162. I haven't actually got a clue because I didn't look, and there's something blocking it. So what I'm going to do is set this track playing, and we're going to try and get this track in beat. So watch the demonstration. As you can see, I did actually get them tracks in beat. Now, the only bad thing I would say about that demonstration is this track was actually a little bit of a lower quality track, and this track was actually quite loud. But essentially, I was listening just through these monitor speakers, just through these PA speakers. I was listening, and I could hear it was still going out of beat, so I was moving it up a bit, and I was moving it, you know, just to keep making sure, keep listening to see if it was in beat. It is easier with headphones on because you can hear the music a lot more clearer for the beat matching. But essentially, that is what you that is what you do, right? That is what you do when you want to beat match a track. So we kind of know the basics about beat matching, you know, tracks and stuff like that. But what's different about different genres of tracks? Now, whichever way, you know, whichever genre of music you want to mix, you're still essentially beat matching in the same process. But all about the transitioning and the timing of when you bring a track in all depends on the genres. Now, with UK hardcore, there's 3 ways that I like to mix my UK hardcore, and there's 3 ways you can do it. Now, basically, you can do what's known as like a double drop bass mix. So essentially, in a UK hardcore track, you'll have like a kick, hats, claps, etc. And they'll go on for about 16 bars, and then you'll have a bass that comes in. It'll be like a pumping, stomping, hardcore bass. Sometimes you will then go instantly into a breakdown, or sometimes you'll have another section of 16 bars with a bass, right? And then you'll go into a breakdown, and then usually after the breakdown you'll have a little bit of a build-up, and then you'll go back into a drop with all the bass, stuff like that. And then usually you will have another 16 bars with a bass, and usually if you're like remixing a track or you've got a vocal, usually you would put a chorus back in at this point, and you'd have a heavy lifting chorus coming through for these 16 bars, and then you would have like some more beats, bars and kicks, and you'd go into a second breakdown. And then, essentially, the track would build up again. You'd have that 16 bars, and then you would have the 16 bars again with the chorus coming back in. Now, what a lot of DJs like to do, and I love to do it myself, is to actually start mixing in your hardcore tracks over that chorus, right? So you've got the kicks of the next song coming in over the chorus, and because the kicks are 16 bars and the chorus is 16 bars, when the bass drops on the new track, the bass sort of like comes in, the bass is coming in on the other track as it's fading out. So essentially, when a track's fading out in hardcore, you'll have a bass that's like up, 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 and it'll just be that same simple bass. But over the chorus, you would normally have what's known as like a bass pattern. So you'd have like a up, 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 right? So basically, when these two basses come in that are just like up, 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 they kind of like clash, and they like double drop over each other, and they sound absolutely fantastic. And this is a really good way of mixing. So I'm going to show you a little demonstration of how to do that right now. So what I'm going to actually do is I'm just going to pick a little track up here. So we're going to have this track here entitled Bamuchi. It's Recon, and I also believe this is on Twister Records as well. So what we're going to actually do is we're going to go back to this Anybody Else But You. Actually, no, we're not. We're going to go for a completely different track. So I'm going to load up a completely different track. So we'll go for I'll Fly With You. So Fly With You, this is the Rob IYF remix. A banging track, by the way. I believe it's on 24/7 Hardcore, Under the Covers, episode 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to have the Bamuchi. I'm going to play the Bamuchi, and I'm going to get it in beat, no headphones, right? And we're going to double drop the track at the same, you know, do this double drop on the bass. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this track playing. So I'm going to do it from here. Right. So this is what's known as the second breakdown. It's going to build up in a moment, so the momentum's going to build back up. So you can see it's starting to build back up. So right now you're pressing your cue. This is known as queuing it up. Now we'll have a go at getting it beat. So we know we've got it in beat, we know we're ready. So we start queuing again. Move that jog wheel. So right now at this point, you'd be like bringing it up, be getting it ready. And then this track's about to fade back to that bass. The chorus is about to end. This track's about to come in. And then boom, you've got the two basses. track's gonna go straight into a breakdown. And just like that, that's another way you can actually mix a track. So that's like a big way that a lot of like hardcore DJs will mix a track. But however, if you are like raving and you're dancing about and you actually end up missing that cue point, you can actually go on the second cue point. So I'll demonstrate. So where I brought the track in, you can actually bring the track in 16 bars later. And sometimes a lot of people like to do this in hardcore tracks as well. So I'm going to set this one playing again. So we got that breakdown again. So this is that breakdown. So again, we could be queuing up. The boogie and dance about, and then maybe we're dancing around in the club, and maybe someone comes up to you, tell you you're doing a good set, blah blah blah. You get talking, you have a little boogie. Oh shit, we missed the cue point, so you're thinking, crap, I missed it. So now we come in on the next beat. So we're getting ready now, we're queuing it up. If we miss this one, then we're totally throwing the mix. And here we are, so we're going on the beat. This is now going to take us to the end of our song. And that's another way of actually mixing a track. So if you do miss that cue point, you can actually go from the second cue, and you can still get a decent mixing. And some people like to do this, and certain tracks will actually sound better if you mix them that way. And like that track actually didn't sound so bad mixing it that way, to be honest with you, which is absolutely fantastic. But then you've got like DJs that actually want to be a bit more clever, they want to be a bit more creative with their mixing, and you can do what's called a quick mix. Now a quick mix is just essentially where you can just like try bringing different tracks in at different parts, and you can try sort of like blending and mashing up. So I'll show you a demonstration of one I like to do, and I call this a Noble Core set, and this is where I try different tracks. I put different tracks together at different places and different times, and I try like doing the drops in different times and have different basses clashing with each other just to see how it sounds. Now, a good hardcore DJ that's known for doing this is actually DJ Gamma, who left the hardcore scene. And he's very creative with his quick mixing, but sometimes he will actually like edit tracks, so he'll go onto production software and he will edit tracks to try and make them fit in a different way, and he'll move some vocals about in some of the tracks that he's made to do some quicker mixes. But essentially, quick mixing is just a little bit more fun. It just gives people a little bit more energy, momentum, you know, because a normal hardcore track is around 4 to 5 minutes long, and sometimes just playing that track all the way through is a little bit the same and boring. You know, it's a good thing to do, but sometimes just having that bit of a quicker mix and cramming loads of different tracks in is not a bad idea at all, and it will work absolutely fantastic if you do it right and you actually get it sounding right. So I'm going to go into a folder on here called Noble Core. So essentially, we have a track entitled here, This is Andy Whitby and Club Filler. This is called Blam. So this is a pretty sort of like it's a very sort of non-vocally track as such, but it's got a really euphoric melody to it. Now, what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna quick mix it with another track which is entitled Gamma and Club Filler, and this is Pure Fish. So essentially, as soon as the first breakdown occurs and the drop comes in on the Blam track, what we're actually going to do is we're actually going to start getting this track ready and bringing it in. And then basically this track's going to kind of almost like drop again. And it's going to go into that second dose of 16 bars. And this is where in some tracks you would have that chorus, which I was telling you about. And essentially this track's going to come in with its bass and it's going to sort of blend and mash it up. And then as soon as these 16 bars are finished, this track is going to go straight into its breakdown. So we're going to drop out and then boom, you'd be on your second track already and people would be thinking like, whoa, that is absolutely wicked. So what we're going to do is do a demonstration right now. And also, just before we do the demonstration, I will also demonstrate, not demonstrate, but I'll tell you as well, some hardcore tracks actually don't drop into the bass on the first 16 bars. So this track here actually has 32 bars and it goes straight into a breakdown, right? And some other tracks, there's another track, it's another Andy Whitby tune, I think. It's a remix of Rock Your Body. And that also has 32 bars before a bass drops. So 16 bars, you don't necessarily have to do that. But if you do want the basses to clash with each other, then you have to bring the track with the 32 bars in just that 16 bars earlier. Otherwise, it's not going to clash and drop. So let me demonstrate this quick mix. So this is the breakdown. So essentially you're going to try getting this in beat over a breakdown, ready to sort of bring it in and mix it as soon as it drops, which it can be a little bit harder, but you can do it, you know, it's doable. So this track's going to build up in the moment, but this is more of a hard, dancey, hardcore track. It's less vocally, but it's a good track. So, this is essentially what we're going to do. So we're getting it ready. We're queuing it up. Getting ready to drop. So as soon as it drops, we're going to be on that play button, which is right about now. So you can see now we've got the basses in beat, they're coming in clash. And then there's going to be a vocal here.
100% pure fish. It's off the fucking scale.
And then we're straight into the breakdown of this track. So if you do that, like in a live set, or you do something similar to that, you're going to already have people thinking like, whoa. And the thing that's good about the quick mixing as well is like you had the little like sound effects, the like choo in that track. So every time like a choo comes in, you can drop the fader out on the track that you've just brought in, like for that split second, and creates these sound effects. And then on this one, it said it's off the thickened scale. So you can drop this fader down and be like, it's off the thickened scale, and it'll come as almost like an acapella just for that split second, and then you're straight back up, you've got the two basses clashing, and it just works absolute wonders. And it's really cool doing quick mixing that way. And I loved this Noble corset that I've kind of like set up here. I originally got inspired by it from Andy Whitby, and I tried getting some of the tracks and sort of copying the way he quick mixed them, and then I started trying to do some of my own techniques and finding some of my own tracks. And if I ever got the chance to play a hardcore set in a club, I would do something very similar like this, because for one, you're going to stand out now. Now, don't get me wrong, you could go in a nightclub and you could drop a wicked hardcore set. You could play all the vocally stuff that people know. The mixing could be on point. It could be tight. But that's what a lot of DJs are going to do anyway. And the thing is you've got a lot of DJs that are going to just essentially do a normal sort of like play the track, mix the next one in. So if you go all guns blazing into that club and you've got all these different techniques and you've got all these different ways of bringing tracks in a little earlier and mashing up basses together and, you know, bringing different vocals in, you're going to do something quite spectacular, and you're going to get people more... You're going to get people more interested, I believe, but even more so, especially on a live stream. If you do this on a live stream, you're going to gain a lot of winners, because in a nightclub, a lot of people aren't really listening to how good somebody's mixing. Like, the guy who's promoting the event obviously is, but people on the dance floor, you know, they're drunk, they're pilled up, they're dancing, and they're just, you know, if they recognise the song, they'll have a sing to the words. And then they'll just have a rave and a dance. Obviously, if you're an absolutely completely shit DJ and your beat matching is absolutely terrible all over the place, obviously people are going to notice. But essentially, doing a quick mix is absolutely wicked to do. So just before I do sort of wrap up and then the live stream, so like I say, mixing other genres. So what if you don't actually mix hardcore? What if you want to do something like drum and bass? Well, drum and bass, like the concept, you know, you can quick mix your drum and bass as well. You can overlap your drops on your drum and bass. But drum and bass, that is also played around 170, but it's a little harder to sort of like mix, because with a hardcore track, the beats are more like... That's more sort of how your hardcore... I don't know if you heard that tapping actually, but it's more like up, and then your drum and bass is more like... So the beats are almost, in sense, the kick's almost kind of like offbeat, because every other kick, you've got kind of like this clap there instead. So it can be quite hard to get it actually matched up. But you can do it, and it is something that you can actually do. But drum and bass it is a little bit harder to mix, but you can quick mix it, or again, you can just sort of mix out from the end. Sometimes you can blend two breakdowns together in drum and bass, and they'll sound absolutely wicked as well. And also, you know, you can do some really cool stuff with drum and bass, quick mixing wise, that people like the likes of Danny Butler do, and he absolutely rips up drum and bass. As far as house music goes, if you mix especially the old house music, like the old funky house and the old classic house, them extended mixes, they're usually about 6 to 7 minutes long. Now, a lot of house music DJs, they will just play the track out and they'll just mix it in at the end. However, you can... in some sense, you can actually quick mix your house music. Now, what you can actually do is sometimes you can bring another house track in just a little bit earlier, and you can start just fading the current house track out. And if you've got it perfectly in beat, you can actually do this quite well. And the likes of Paul Taylor, he's done that quite often, where there will be like some form of like, in sense, like a breakdown to a track. There's one track actually where you can do this quite cleverly, and it's actually Chrissy Ward. It's entitled Right and Exact. It's on XL Recordings, and there's like almost like a part of the track that just goes back to a kick. Like a kick and a clap and everything, and you would think that the track was gonna, you know, you'd think that would be the end of the track, and it would kind of be like fading out, because it sounds like it's fading out. And if you get the mix quick enough and you get it right enough, you can actually make that like the end of the track. So if you don't want to play the whole like 7 minutes of the track, if you want to move on to the next track, you can actually mix it out there, and it's a good opportunity and a good chance to actually mix the track out there, if that makes sense. Or you can just let it play and mix it at the end. But there's quite a lot of tracks where you will actually get a chance where it will just go back to a kick, or some little sort of like different sort of breakdown would come in, and you could bring a kick in and you could slowly fade that track out, and the actual transition, and if you get that right, it will actually sound decent and nothing will like clash in a bad way, and everything will just fit. Everything will just work together. So anyway, I hope this sort of live tutorial, you'll obviously be able to watch this on the replay, but I hope it's helped you. I hope the demonstrations were quite good as well, and all the rest of it. And essentially, this is just sort of some techniques, and this is what I've found to help me with DJing over my time, which I have been DJing for a few years now, but last year was sort of when I started to take it more seriously. I mean, I've mixed on controllers before, and I've mixed on like iPad and PC software, you know, but when I got the CDJs just over a year ago, it was when I sort of really started to take it more seriously and start growing my passion back for it. So please do like, please do subscribe, all the rest of it. If you would like to see more sort of videos like this, then let me know in the comment section, and we'll see you next time, people. Peace out.